Santa is giving us a derby on the North Coast. We are also getting one in the Sunshine City, and we unwrap everything we know about the new man in charge of Waterhouse. All this and more on this Match Week 14 preview show. Yeah, people, welcome back to Jamaica Fun. I hope all your bellies ain't too full because we have a full serving of JPL action coming your way this weekend. And we are starting with another edition of the North Coast Derby. Montego United versus Mount Pleasant. It was supposed to be written in the stars. MoBay returned to the iconic Jarrett Park, first time playing in front of their home fans since the hurricane, and to remain on top of the table at Christmas. But that movie was never released as MoBay picked up a rather disappointing loss at home to Waterhouse. Their form since the break has been hit or miss as they currently look a half-baked version of their early season selves. Some may argue that's purely down to their defense undergoing some personnel changes. It's not official, but it seems defensive rocks in midfield and centre back, Matthew Uling and Josiah Tribunum, are no longer with the club. And thus, coach Xavier Gilbert has to retool how this team chooses to defend once the attack breaks down. Something they have to get right against this weekend's opponent. Mount Pleasant themselves are looking to kick on towards the summit after breezing past Police last week. Their head coach Tapper Whitmore has his own headaches when it comes to personnel as he has too many quality players to choose from. And he faces fresh headaches in the attack as newcomer Tajay McIntosh had a brilliant debut coming off the bench and will be pushing to start in this match. As for their last meeting, these two played out to an entertaining 2-2 draw in match week 1, and I'm sure neutrals will love to see a similar game where Montego United hosts Mount Pleasant this Sunday at 3 p.m. Portmore United versus Dunbeholden FC. Portmore are in a bit of a slump. Nothing to panic over, of course, since it's only a back-to-back defeats, but I am sure even they were caught off guard by their defeat to Treasure Beach last weekend. We speak about their attack quite often on these preview shows, but their defense been looking unusually shaky since return from the break. And rubbing further salt in the wounds, the current JPL kings of defending is their noisy neighbor, Dunbeholden. Look, I owe Dunbeholden a bit of an apology. I made fun of their weak offensive output in last week's show, but what has been going under the radar is their stellar defensive record. They have only conceded 5 goals so far this season, and sure, they ain't pretty to watch, but with a defense like that, they will pick up points. I still believe they need more goals, but with Nicholas Nelson making a goal score return in their last match, they will pose some threat in the final third. As for what happened in the last Portmore derby, Portmore United actually blanked their rivals 2-0 at the Stadium East. But can they do it again, this time at Fronita Park? Well, we'll find out at 3 p.m. this Sunday. Spanish Town Police FC versus Treasure Beach FC. Not quite a derby match, but it will be interesting battle of the new boys. It was a dream return to JPL action for Treasure Beach after their extended break, and now has a prime chance to build some momentum and climb away from the drop zone. The team from St. Bess is currently on a 4-game unbeaten run and also have not conceded any goals in their last 3. A stark contrast to Spanish Town, who was conceding each of their last 8 matches. That included picking up 5 against Mount Pleasant in their last match. But the police must ignore the second half of that match, but instead focus on their performance in the first. They looked decent against a very good team in that half, but they need to work on their mental game and discipline, as evidence have shown that they would implode when the going gets tough. And they will be looking for some revenge after losing to Treasure Beach 2-0 in match week 1. We will see if they get it when Spanish Town Police FC takes on Treasure Beach 4 p.m. this Sunday. Waterhouse versus Molynes United. Rounding out our festive period derbies is the rather interesting matchup that will take place in Jerusalem. Waterhouse finally ended a torrid run of form with that victory in Montego Bay and will need to string some more wins together to cement themselves in the top 6. I mentioned last week's show that the Colorado Murray needed more goal scoring help from the wings and midfield, and Rivaldo Mitchell was the man to step up in that department. He should be pushing for a start this time around, and interim head coach Jeremy Miller will have a selection headache about who starts in goal, as he will take a brave man to drop Roger Williams after such a performance. While his counterpart this weekend, Jermaine Thomas, must be having his most relaxed Christmas in years. Not only are Molynes on a 3-game unbeaten run, the starting 11 practically picks itself. After the impressive performance against Arnett in their last outing, I am fully expecting a nearly identical team on the pitch come Sunday night. As for their last meeting, Waterhouse cruised by Molynes on opening day 2-0 and will be looking to do the same 6:30 p.m. this Sunday at the Waterhouse Mini Stadium. Harbourview vs Cavalier. The Boss come back and all of a sudden, the young guns shape up and produce a much better performance in their win over Capital Maroons last week. But now the name of the game for Cavalier should be consistency, something that's not easy for a very young team. And speaking of consistency, they will need young Chad James to continue his rich form of goal scoring if the Duncan Destroyers have any desire to maintain their top 6 position. But they will be facing their bogey team next. For some reason, Harbourview seemed to have Cavalier's ticket last season, with the Stars of the East remaining undefeated in their last 4 matches in this fixture. And under new coach Vassar Reynolds, the team is looking a lot more balanced, with the defense being greatly improved. However, he does need his strikers Rowan Brown and Trayvon Reed to start firing again, after back-to-back 0-0 matches. Harbourview will also welcome back Rashawn Oldfield after his suspension to help provide some threat down the left. And he should clash with Cavalier's Jerome McCleary, who should be returning from his own suspension. We might witness a fascinating back 3 versus back 3 matchup when Harbourview hosts Cavalier 3 p.m. this Sunday. Tivoli Gardens vs Phoenix Capital Maroons. The Phoenix honeymoon phase is officially over. The Maroons have only taken 3 points from the last 24 on hand, and that dreadful form have seen them tailspin all the way into the relegation zone. On the worrying sign, their recent performance doesn't exactly give you confidence that they are on a right track to climbing out, especially with how anemic the attack is looking. 2 goals in 7 matches will not cut it at this level. Maybe it's time to start Robina Gordon in the attack rather than have him in the back line. As for Tivoli Gardens, they will not be shown any mercy, of course, after losing their last 2 matches. That last one against Dunbeholden especially stung, as they were reported to be the better team in that match and even missed a penalty. It also stirred up those old discussions about what exactly are Tivoli's backup plans when Nikolai Fuller is ineffective, which should really be Anthony Nelson, but with only 2 goals in 11 matches, he will need to up his game a little more to take the load off Fuller. As for their round 1 meeting, Tivoli will be seeking revenge after losing 2-1 in Clarendon. This one might be fun when Tivoli Gardens host Phoenix Capital Maroons this weekend. Arnett Gardens vs Racing United. The entire jungle is on high alert, as the club's current position of 10th is almost unheard of at this stage of the season. Arnett Gardens were shocking in that first half against Molynes, and they cannot afford to start their next match that slowly again. It's clear the squad is still getting to grips with what the demands of new head coach Philip Williams, but at the same time, the fans demand results. I have always maintained that this is one of the most difficult coaching roles in Jamaican football, as the junglist demands perfection when it comes to their beloved club. And it doesn't get any easier for Williams and his players, as the league leaders, Racing United, are next to pay them a visit come this Monday. The Stallions found themselves top at Christmas and are hoping to remain there at the end of April. Things have been going nearly perfect for Racing so far this campaign, but Harbourview showed us last week this team may have issues in breaking down a low block. Luckily for them, I can't see an Arnett Gardens team playing at home resorting to such tactics, so the likes of Grant and Cunningham should find themselves with more space in the final third to operate. Also, expect Racing to take the page out of Molynes' book and press the junglist back line once they are in possession. If Arnett don't make the proper preparations, they might have a repeat of match week 1 scoreline where Racing took out the belt buckle and whipped them 5-1. We will see for ourselves when Arnett hosts Racing United 7:30 p.m. this Monday. So that's our list of matches, but before my predictions, here is the local football news. By now, we know there will be a coaching change at Waterhouse Football Club, but who exactly is the new man, Javier Ainstein? He is a 42-year-old CONMEBOL and CONCACAF A licensed Argentine coach. He spent majority of his coaching career in Panama, where he has amassed over 50 games as a first division coach, being in charge of top clubs such as CD Plaza Amador and Toro FC. Ainstein favors possession-based football, starting plays from the back, usually in a 4-3-1-2 system. And according to my good friend Bam Sports TV, he had only signed a 1-year contract. Ainstein won't be in charge of the team right away due to him waiting on his work permit, but he is already present at Waterhouse training this week. Alright, that's it for the local football news. No time for the predictions. Alright, MoBay versus More Pleasant. This is an interesting one. MoBay is still getting used to the surroundings of Giant Park, while More Pleasant looking to fire on all cylinders. Don't be surprised if More Pleasant win this one 2-1. Portmore versus Dunbeholden. Man, I am so surprised with how good this Dunbeholden backline has been looking. Don't be surprised if this ended 0-0. Spanish Town versus Treasure Beach. Well, police can cause some threat, but I expect Treasure Beach with one more week of training under their belt to be the better team. I expect Treasure Beach to win this one 2-0. Waterhouse versus Molynes United. Very hard to call. It's been interesting to see how Waterhouse play under the new interim management setup, as well as Molynes are on some super form. This might be another high scoring game. Waterhouse 2, Molynes United 2. Alright, Harvey versus Cavalier. The last time these two faced each other, it was 0-0, and I can see that happening once more. Expect 0-0 when they meet at the compound. Tivoli versus Chapter Maroons. I think Tivoli should win this one. Phoenix can't score for save their life, so I expect Tivoli to win this one 2-0. And finally, Arnett versus Racing. Well, Arnett will be on supreme pressure at home, but I think Racing is simply too strong. But Arnett will put up a fight, but I think they will lose this one 2-1. But alright guys, that is it for this latest preview show. Thank you all for watching and listening, and please like, subscribe and share as we look to keep you all up to date on everything in the JPL leading up to the final in May. Otherwise, for great JPL content, you're already at the right place, JPL Fan. YouTube, big up yourself.